You're listening to the Super Sports Flash podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Super Sports Flash podcast. This is episode 5, I think, because we skipped a week.
Yes,
So
this is episode 5.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, it was lonely.
It was good to be back. I'm sorry I had to we couldn't do an episode. It was my fault. You know, I went home to see the family, enjoy the family time.
Coach the Washington football team.
Yeah. Well, they could sure use my help.
I mean, they're a better record than my Vikings.
Let's be real.
And my Broncos.
All three of our teams are struggling really bad right now. So we're all kind of in the same boat.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm a lifetime
Tyler's
Dolphins fan.
switched teams already. He's wearing a Dolphins jersey.
It's a Tua jersey.
I'm
a Tua fan.
Oh, you'll fit in with all the other
Tua fans.
all the other basic white people, white girls at Alabama.
I might as well just go ahead and fold on the NFL season already and just go back to basketball where my Lakers still have a chance to get to the finals and win the championship.
Well, I don't know about that.
We have a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
That's
what I'm saying.
Is a chance.
There is indeed a chance.
That's a perfect segue right there.
There is, yeah. And I think that this segue that I'm going to take right now, as I think of what I'm going to say, is into baseball, because we rarely ever talk about baseball on the show, but as of 2 days ago, it was a week before the wild card round started. So 5 days from the time of recording, Thursday, the 24th. Yeah, I'm not good with dates. So 5 days from now, playoffs start. And I know the Braves won the NL East. I know that was it the Cubs are winning the NL Central?
We don't have to.
I know nothing about baseball.
We don't have to go into it in a depth just of the teams that are in the playoffs. Who would you pick as your World Series team?
I said Yankees like all season, and they have been getting hot again.
Are they in the playoffs?
Yeah, they're number 5. They're the 5th seed right now. So these aren't like set playoffs or anything we have to mention. So this could be completely wrong as of 5 days from now. But we're just looking at the seeding as it is right now. And the Yankees are the 5th seed. They kind of went cold for a little bit, but they hit something like 20 homers over the last like 4 games.
Sounds about right for the Bronx Bombers.
Jeez. Sounds like, what is it called? That streak that the Padres went on, where they just had like a grand slam, like
the
6
Slam Diego Padres.
Yeah, Slam Diego.
Dude, the Padres are so fun to watch.
Okay, so I will tell you, though, the teams that are guaranteed to be in the playoffs are the Rays, the Athletics, the Indians, the Twins, the White Sox, the Yankees, the Dodgers, Braves, Cubs, and Padres. My Cardinals are also slated to be in right now, which is impressive because we're hovering around like 500, if that. And we don't look great, but
I'll tell you who's not in it. Is my Washington Nationals, who I am proudly supporting today with my hat, my World Series championship hat, my World Series t-shirt.
Thinking back to better days.
Nice.
They had a horrible season, so I'm hoping they can bounce back next year. I mean, they've got the talent, but, honestly, who knows at this point? So they are definitely not in the playoffs. If I had to pick one team out of that group that I think has the best chance at winning a championship, winning a World Series, I'm gonna have to go with the White Sox, who I've been very high. Yeah. I've been very high on them since.
I don't know why I'm surprised.
Since the season got underway. I had a bet that I made. I'm a betting man, so if my family was listening to this, I'm sorry. I bet occasionally, here and there.
You're a disgrace. I want to let you know that.
I made a $35 bet the White Sox win the World Series, and guess how much I get if they win?
$100.
$700.
$700. Ooh.
And I made that bet at the beginning of the season. I put a lot of respect on the at the Chicago White Sox.
They're not the Washington White Sox.
I wish they were.
Stop.
And I think they can get it done.
It's been real fun following you on Twitter, especially since you had that bet, because anytime the White Sox hit any home run or any like stolen base or something, I find out because you tweet about it, like, let's go White Sox and stuff like that.
Hey, they look good, and they've got Tim Anderson, who's he's from the area.
Yeah, sounds Tim like Anderson. A pretty generic name to me.
How's Grandal been playing? Actually, I haven't been following the White Sox that close, but I know
he's been good. Their whole lineup is it's insane. Pitching wise, there's some question marks there.
Yeah,
but I mean, you could say that about every team. I think they have a good chance. Another team that I think could also win it would be the Twins.
Oh yeah, the Twins were like, I had 3 teams that I had my eyes on at the start of the season, right? And all 3 of them are lived up to the expectations. The Twins were 1B with the Yankees. My prediction was whoever won the AL out of those 2. And then my other team was the Dodgers, who have looked even better than I thought they would with Mookie Betts getting there. They're like the best team in the National League. And
That surprises you?
not surprises me, but I don't know. I don't know who I expected to win the National League. I guess looking at all the teams that are in the playoffs right now, like the National League isn't super strong compared to the American League
Yeah,
with some of the
that's
teams.
how it is.
But yeah, the Dodgers look really good. And so I think that they're also, I don't even say a dark horse because they're the number 1 seed. So, but I don't think a lot of people are predicting them to win over, teams like the Yankees, teams like the Twins right now. But even the Rays have looked really good.
Yeah, they clinched the playoffs on Wednesday. I don't know. I mean, even though they clinched the playoffs, I still don't see them, beating the Yankees. But, I guess we'll find out. You want to get into some basketball, too?
Wait, I have one last very telling question before we go. Matt, have you watched a single MLB game this season?
Yes.
Matt's sitting over there like, oh, gosh.
I've watched
please stop.
6 games.
6 games?
Yes, I have.
That's
I watched
impressive.
2 Slam Diego games, like after they started getting on that little streak.
Well,
And
those
I've
are the
watched-
games. If you're going to watch games, those are the
And
ones
I've watched
I watch.
4 Cardinals games.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes.
I watched more MLB at the start of the season than I ever have in my life because that was like the first thing back.
Yeah, I was all
that
in,
on,
and
like,
then
every day.
as more sports return and as the Nationals started to fade out of playoff contention, I lost interest.
Yeah, actually, too, before we go to basketball, I kind of want to touch on hockey just because I feel like it's kind of important.
Hockey.
We haven't talked about hockey a single time, I think, in 5 episodes of our podcast. It's Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
That's kind of
what's going
important.
on. Yeah,
That's
so
kind
I
of
feel like we
important.
should at least mention it. Oh, sorry, it's going to be Game 4 because Tampa Bay Lightning leads 2-1 in the series over the Stars.
Whoa.
Game 3 just happened
Last
yesterday.
night,
They won 5-2. I
I watched
only
a little
caught
bit of that.
Really,
I was flipping back and forth between that and the Eastern Conference semifinals,
yeah.
which both.
I
both
caught the
teams.
highlights. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say both Florida teams in the contention for a championship there with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Miami Heat.
Yeah. It's definitely it's possible. You might have a dual threat in Florida right now.
Yeah, and then the Marlins win the.
I forgot the Marlins are in the playoffs.
They're not clinched yet, but they are the 6th seed right now.
They'll probably make it.
Yeah, they could.
I'm sure they'll. I don't know who they play this weekend, but
If standings hold the way they are, they'd play the Cubs in the first round of the playoffs.
that's pretty rough.
But anyway, yeah, I remember I didn't catch any of the Lightning game, but I saw highlights of it, and it seemed like it was just clip after clip of the Lightning scoring. They won 5-2, and
What are they in the series right now?
they're up 2-1. The Stars
Okay.
won Game 1 4-1, and then the Lightning won 3-2. I'm a Blues fan. I kind of, as much as I hate to admit it, as a general sports personality, I kind of stopped paying attention once the Blues got knocked out. And it's probably same with you with the Nationals, the Capitals.
Well, both those teams.
Both of the
yeah.
teams. The Nationals just got knocked out a lot sooner than the Capitals did.
Yeah.
I have watched less hockey games than I have baseball games this year.
That's
Oh my
impressive. I watched
gosh.
all the Blues games, and then we lost to Canucks in game, I believe it was 6 of the series, and that was very disappointing. It's exactly like I predicted, though. Fun fact, if you go back to our Facebook Live shows, or maybe
oh my gosh, that's
maybe
a
it was
throwback.
even student
Throwback.
section
Back in
last
the day.
semester. Maybe it was even student section last semester as things shut down, and we were talking about where does it go from here, like what happens when stuff starts back up. And I predicted that the St. Louis Blues would come out flat because they hadn't played in 3 months
I
and then
remember
lose in
that.
the first round to like
I
an 8th
remember
seed.
that.
It wasn't an 8th seed; they were a 4 seed they were a 5 or 6 seed because they
Mhm.
were the round robin happened to determine the end seeding, and we lost all 3 games and ended up like the 3rd seed instead of the
Yeah, I
5th seed.
remember the Caps didn't do too hot on that either, and I was like, oh, they'll figure it out, but they didn't really
Wrong.
figure it out.
Yeah,
Wrong.
it's exactly as I predicted. So call me Nostradamus.
I will not
No.
call you that. I'm not going to call you that.
Sure thing, Tyler.
All right. Well, Nostradamus would like to take this back to basketball, like we were going to.
Heck yeah, that's.
Before I so
Matt's
rudely,
super happy.
I am excited about this
before I
because
so rudely interrupted Joe, and like I just did Matt. 17
Exactly.
times.
Hey, get this guy out of here. Get him out of here.
Please, come on. All right.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I'm excited for the NBA right now
Are
because
you?
there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, obviously, of course I am. As you can see, big NBA
Apparently,
guy.
I didn't get the jersey memo.
Matt Nash, NBA guy.
Kind of messed up.
It's 2 a season.
Look, man, there's some interesting storylines going around right now. So, basic one, Clippers and Paul George might not be together next year. Paul George tried to give a speech after Game 7, and he was met with eye rolls and, like, snickering. So,
Yeah. Well, the speech too was like, guys, we just got to stick together. We got to come back at it next year. We'll do it next year. Like,
I mean,
come on,
what else
come
do you
together.
want, like, one of your two stars to say? Like, yes,
That's fair.
his playoffs was dismal, but he's got a point.
But
You guys have a championship caliber roster, if you ask
He
me.
played horribly.
But I think Kawhi should be the one giving the speech, if anyone, because
Kawhi doesn't give speeches.
I know, but Paul George can't go like 2 for 14 in the game, like in Game 7 of an elimination game in the playoffs, and then be like, "We got it next year, guys."
I mean,
This isn't my
yeah,
fault."
But on
Hey.
on the same hand, Kawhi Leonard can't go 4 for 20 in that same game and give a speech still.
They both
That's fair.
sucked.
They both were terrible in that series. And that's well, Kawhi wasn't great in most of the series, and he was terrible in that game.
Well, he was better than Paul George, but
He-
I guess that's not saying much.
But that's not saying much. That's setting the bar kind of low because Paul George had like 2 good games this series and 5
Mhm.
bad ones. It's right now. My prediction is Paul George is going to get traded in the offseason.
Where
They're
do you
going
think
to
he
where?
goes?
I don't know. He needs to go somewhere where he would be appreciated, and I don't think that's a lot of places right
We'd
now.
love to have him on the Wizards.
I bet you would. I don't think he'd like to go there.
Yeah, I can't really blame him.
Who would
either.
you give
Did
up?
I
You don't-
hear
you don't have-
Golden State? Paul George?
First off, no.
No,
Second off,
I would
you
hate
have no
that.
cap space. Who you would
No
have
cap?
To, you would have
There is no cap.
you would have to give up John Wall or Bradley Beal, and the Wizards refuse
I would give
to
up
do that.
John Wall
Oh, but
for
here's the-
Paul George.
Here's
I
the deal.
wouldn't.
The Wizards can't because the Clippers aren't going to take on John Wall's $50 million a year contract.
I wouldn't give up John Wall. Hey,
I know.
once John Wall is back to full strength after slipping on a banana peel, or I don't even know what the rumors
he was
were.
like
got hit with a-
he was sliding through his house in socks.
An anvil fell off a
something like
cliff.
was it like
a
that
Looney
commercial?
Tunes
It's like
show.
da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
I don't know what you're
sliding.
talking about.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
It's
No.
like it was like Looney Tunes. Like he was chasing someone, and he like ran off a cliff, and then he like turned around, and he was like.
We're all on
hovering.
completely different pages here.
No,
Yeah, we are.
But anyway,
So
I know so many Wizards fans. Right, this is just a side tangent. I'm friends with quite a few Wizards fans.
Are
They
we friends?
overrate John. Yes, we're
Wow.
friends. I mean, maybe not after this, but they overrate John Wall like nobody I've ever seen before. The dude has not played basketball in 2 years, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's a top point guard in the league."
I mean, he was
be-
a top
he-
point guard
he'll
before
be
he
a
went
top
down.
five-
Then he was like a top 5 point guard.
Incoming hot take. He will be a top 5 player in the league next year.
Player, that is the
Player.
most
You
hot.
heard it
That's-
right here. You
that
can
was
go
very
back.
He was never a top 5 player in the league.
He's
to
coming
begin
back
with.
better than ever.
He's just
You
been
heard it.
training in the hyperbolic time chamber while he's been injured.
Yeah. All right, so
Mark it down, folks.
let's go ahead and bring out something else here. The Celtics are now down 3-1 to the Heat.
They're done.
The Heat are really good. They've only lost 1 game the entire playoffs.
The Heat are hot, man.
You know who I put this
Jimmy
loss
Butler.
on? Funny. You know who I put this loss on entirely? Tatum.
Brad Stevens.
Nope, Tatum.
Score, yeah. I mean,
It's Tatum.
as much as I love Tatum, you can't score 0 points in the first
Here's the
half
thing.
if you're like a superstar.
It's not even that. It's his effort. He has no effort. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's looking
He just-
real flat.
He feels entitled. He just thinks that the game should come to him. He just like everyone
Oof,
should just listen to me.
That's pretty harsh.
I haven't been able to watch most of the games. I caught snippets of the last 2.
Mhm.
In the last 2 games, he's looked disengaged. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
He
I
doesn't
agree
want
with
to be
you.
there. It just looks like he's just I'll just do what I want to do.
The only
looks bad.
one with like real heart on the Celtics to me seems like Kemba Walker right
Marcus
now.
Smart.
Marcus Smart.
Marcus
yeah.
Smart too, I guess. Yeah.
Marcus Smart was furious, and like
When he was
that was when like
yelling
because
at
after
people.
game 2 there was a big yelling match.
Yeah.
And stuff was getting thrown in the locker room. The team looked like it was ready to implode. Brad Stevens called all the team leaders together later that night and had a meeting with them. They got their, stuff resorted.
Mhm.
They won the next game. And then they come back again, and I watched the game, and Tatum didn't look like he cared, and he didn't look like he was there. He looked like his mind was somewhere else. I saw a play literally where he was marked on to Tyler Hero, and Tyler Hero went to the basket, and he wasn't watching. He wasn't in a defensive stance.
It's like James
He was
Harden.
just standing there straight up, no, like nothing, just
Yeah.
watching the ball. And I
Well-
was like, come on. He wasn't even like double teaming or anything. He was just standing there.
Or Otto Porter for you Wizards fans when he went on autopilot a couple of times.
Pain.
It just looks awful.
One thing that I'll say that positive that came out of the whole Celtics, not having any heart thing was I saw a really funny tweet from Marcus Smart, and it was like us in the locker room after game 2, and it was like him and Enes Kanter wrestling at the pool, and like one of them threw the other one into the water.
Yeah, I thought that was Ennis that tweeted that.
Whoever.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
I think, it was Ennis throwing Marcus Smart into the water.
So do you guys think they're done? I think
Yes.
they're done.
I think they lose
I
the
think the
next game.
Celtics are done. Even if they don't lose the next game, they're still done because the Heat are just a well-oiled machine defensively, and their offense is whoever gets hot.
Well, you brought up Tyler Hero a little bit. You want to?
Mhm.
I think we should talk about that because
I mean, that's the thing. Jason Tatum's the one always marking up on him, and he doesn't do anything. Like Tatum just doesn't guard him. Now Tyler Hero has got some
37
smoothness,
points, right?
Yeah, career
Yeah.
high.
and I was like,
For a rookie too.
it's impressive. It's very impressive what he's doing, and it takes a lot of skill, but it also does help that the Celtics don't seem terribly engaged at the moment. That's just the way. Like, I'm not to detract from Tyler Hero or anything. He's playing spectacularly, but like, it just doesn't look like the Celtics care enough.
The Celtics have just been just an utter failure. I remember when they signed Gordon Hayward.
And
Initially,
they traded for Kyrie and
Yeah.
they
signed
had
Gordon
Kyrie.
Hayward.
I was like, this is it. They've got all these young players, and they've got these
Well,
two guys.
Yeah, to be
That's-
fair, we couldn't tell that Kyrie was going to
we
go
didn't know
all
that Kyrie was a cancer.
flat earth.
Yeah.
and-
Kyrie's a cancer
But
in
then-
the locker room.
But then when they got rid of Kyrie and they brought in Kemba, I still thought they had a pretty good chance. But
I mean,
Gordon Hayward, what has he done since he's been there?
they're in the
mean,
Eastern
Gordon
Conference Finals. It's not like they haven't done anything. That's still
that's fair.
Listen,
impressive.
let's not detract from what Gordon Hayward does for that team because that man averages 19 as like the fourth scoring option.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Your offense is set when your fourth scoring option is averaging 19 a game.
That's true.
And he fits perfectly into the Brad Stevens system of I run one ball handler, 3 wings, and 1 big. He doesn't believe in traditional guards. It's I have the initiator, the ball handler. I've got 3 wings or just dudes that stand on the 3-point line, not at the top,
Yeah.
and a big man. That's his offense. And it's working it works really well.
Mhm.
It just so happens to be that the Heat look even better.
Yeah, the Heat to me, like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again and I'll keep saying it till I die. They're like the Raptors of last year, this year for me,
Yeah.
where it's just their entire team from top to bottom is really solid, and then they have one player that's playing at like a superstar level,
And they just want it more than anyone
Yeah.
else does.
and then they have one player playing at a superstar level, and then they have a second player who's like emerging into a star.
Let's not
level.
forget, that's completely ignoring Goran Dragic, who has been
Yeah.
having a spectacular bubble.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, the Raptors. They had Kyle Lowry, who gets slept on, point guard, little guy. You
I
don't
will-
expect to be really good.
I'll continue to sleep on Lowry. I don't respect him.
But anyway, then you have like a player playing at a superstar level. Last year was Kawhi. This year, Jimmy
Jimmy
Butler.
Buckets.
He's not quite like as good as Kawhi was last year, but he's still, And
Yeah.
then you have the young player that's turning into a star, and you have Tyler Hero, and then you had Pascal Siakam. I mean,
Yeah. And also Bam Adebayo
Yeah,
fits
I
that
was
as
gonna
well.
say.
he was
So-
their leading scorer in this series, actually.
Bam.
Yeah.
Dude, his third quarter in like what was it, game 2 or something like that?
Yeah, I
he
think it's
he
2.
dunked the ball more times than the Celtics made a shot
That
in that quarter.
he had a game-winning block as well. In
That was insane.
was that game 2 as well?
That was game 1. That was the like the tone setter for the series.
That was the
Insane.
prettiest thing. A fun fact: I actually had a assignment in one of my classes where we had to talk about like sports, and I used that picture of
Really?
the block of like him being like
Oh, yeah,
basically
that
at
was
the rim
insane.
and his hands
Yeah.
stuff.
And they were
He
like,
said,
well,
Yeah.
the thing is,
said,
afterwards he
"No,
said
no.
like 2 of his fingers went numb from that.
I mean,
block.
his fingers bent like all the way
Yeah.
back and like met him right at the rim. So
Yeah, it
"That
was
was
a
worth it."
it was
though.
a good block. It was a really impressive play, great defensive play. It was just awesome, like all the way around to watch that. Now, the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers.
it's game 4 tonight.
It's
Yeah.
game 4 is tonight. Game 4 is tonight at 8:00. And
I think the Lakers are in trouble, Matt. I'm gonna be honest with you.
what makes you say that?
Well, they got lucky in what is it? What game is this?
This is game 4.
They got lucky in game 2 with
Yeah.
that buzzer beater.
Was
Really
it luck or
lucky.
was it skill? Because
It was luck that you won at the last second.
was it
Yeah.
luck that Bam Adebayo blocked Jason Tatum at the last second?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
say that play
I
could
think
just
it
as
was.
easily have gone the other way.
Yeah.
So all buzzer beaters are luck.
yes. 100%.
For the I'd say the team got lucky that their player made a clutch shot. Maybe I'm not saying like, I mean, it takes a lot of skill to hit
Yeah,
a buzzer
of
beater,
course,
but you
but
can't
there's-
bank on your team. Like if
from
the,
Anthony Davis too,
Yeah.
of all players
if
to
the
hit it.
mean, he's a-
unstoppable Lakers, who were supposed to beat everyone, had to lost one game and then won another game with 0 seconds on the clock, like they're not looking as good as I thought they would.
I mean, no, You guys thought the Lakers were unstoppable?
Everybody does. I don't know if
dude,
it's just.
When
I think it's a media thing. The media loves the Lakers. The media love the Clippers. The Clippers are out now, and I think the Lakers are in a bit of trouble here. I mean,
when the playoffs started, I thought the Lakers were going to make like a third. Like I thought the Lakers were going to lose in this round to the Clippers. That's what I expected. That was my prediction. We weren't gonna. I thought it was going to be.
Well, nobody expected the Nuggets to make it this far.
Yeah, but like I thought the Lakers were going to like have some trouble with the Trailblazers, have a lot of trouble with who do we play? The Rockets, and then lose in the third round. That was my prediction as a Lakers fan.
I think that's why.
I think you're a realistic Lakers fan.
Yeah, you're a lot more
unrealistic
than a lot of
Lakers
people I've
fans.
seen. I have a lot of friends that are like LeBron fans, not Lakers fans, and I have not heard like anything except like, oh, Lakers in 4, Lakers in 4 every game.
That's
That
so
doesn't
stupid.
surprise me.
It's just so dumb. Like,
I agree.
That's
but-
not how basketball works.
I mean, the Miami Heat have only lost 1 game in the playoffs so far. Lakers have only lost 3 as well. So
I mean, yeah, but still. I don't think the Lakers are necessarily in trouble yet. If they lose this game, series is over. Nuggets have won. That's my prediction. But from what I saw, it was a close game. Like it was a blowout, and then we brought it back to being close, and then we lost control.
Jamal Murray went
and
sicko mode.
Jamal Murray hit a lucky clutch shot. It was
I
a
would
dagger.
argue going up 11 versus winning the game is a lot less
different.
luck.
I see what you're saying, but
it's a clutch bucket either way. A dagger is a clutch bucket. It clutches luck by your guys' standards.
No, not clutch. Hitting a buzzer beater is luck. With
That's
0
clutch.
times. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
it is clutch.
It
but
is a clutch shot, but it's different from being just a clutch shot. Like a buzzer beater is lucky because you're heaving it up at the end of the shot clock with someone in your face most of the time versus hitting an open 3 or whatever, or hitting a good 3.
It was an open 3 because the Nuggets didn't rotate.
There was a guy right there.
I will say this:
Jokic had to
if
jump.
it was anybody other than Anthony Davis, I wouldn't call it luck. But the fact that it was Anthony Davis makes it even more lucky.
I mean,
Davis
AD's not
is a solid shooter.
I'm not
he's
saying
a
he
bad
isn't,
three-point
but
shooter.
he's not, the guy that you think is going to win the game on a 3-pointer like that, fading away with somebody's face.
It wasn't he caught it and shot it like a regular shot. Jokic was having to jump from the inbound to him because like the Nuggets missed 2 rotations.
Okay, yeah, technically, it wasn't a fadeaway, but
It wasn't a fade.
It
and
was
like
a tough
he was
shot.
like kind of off to his side, but he wasn't really in his face. Like I just think.
How do you feel about LeBron not taking the last shot though?
I'm fine with it. This is what LeBron wanted. LeBron wanted to not have to be the guy night in, night out. I'm fine with it.
But if they lose the series, LeBron's going to be the first one to
Everyone's going to be like, why didn't
complain.
LeBron play better no matter how well he played?
I mean, that's fine. I know
He hasn't even been playing all that well.
he was playing decently.
But not at the level that people expect from him.
Yeah.
I think he's just kind of trying to like coast it out and see what can happen.
Well-
He's gonna kick it into high gear, I think, but I don't know.
I mean, he needs to do it
here's the
tonight,
thing.
if anything.
If LeBron wasn't on the Lakers, I'd be hating on him hard because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
I don't like LeBron.
I don't like LeBron either.
I don't like LeBron's style. I respect what he
Tyler,
does
do you
as a
like
person.
LeBron?
No, I do
Okay,
not.
so we can establish that
We're
the Super
LeBron
Sports
haters.
Flash boys do not like LeBron.
I mean, he's like, I just on the court, he's good, but I think he's overhyped. And so as a result, I feel like it's my job to provide the supplementary hate to balance out the universe. Because, you can't just give a guy
like
all the love
entropy.
for no
Yeah.
reason. Like it's just you gotta balance it out. So I'm like, well, I gotta provide the counterpoints
See,
here.
My thing this series is it seems like him and Anthony Davis seem like they're like really good friends already, and that it seems like he's trying to get Anthony Davis to become like the guy on the team.
Yeah.
And he's trying to take like the Dwayne Wade role this time around instead of taking the LeBron role, if that makes any sense.
I think it's less of that and more along the lines of the Dwayne Wade and Shaq role. Because LeBron and D Wade, LeBron was the clear number 1. Shaq, Dwayne Wade was the clear number 2.
Yeah.
When it was Dwayne Wade and Shaq, Dwayne Wade was still number 1, but Shaq was 1B.
yeah, right there.
So
Didn't
1A
they,
and 1B.
They what co-MVP'd the finals,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
2004 or something. like that?
There was a distinction, but it's a small one.
Yeah.
That's what LeBron wants with Anthony Davis. Is he doesn't want to have a 2. He wants to have a 1B.
I
And
really like Anthony Davis, and it breaks my heart to see him on the Lakers playing with LeBron because I can't stand the Lakers.
Here's the thing. I'm a Lakers fan, and when I heard we signed LeBron, I said, well, this is going to go one of 2 ways. We're going to win nothing, or we're going to win everything. So that's what we're currently in the middle of that process, and we're going to see what happens.
Actually, I say I can't stand the Lakers, but if LeBron wasn't on the Lakers and it was just AD, I would be probably rooting for them, or I would like them a lot more than I do now. So I just don't like LeBron. I'll be clear.
I mean, here's the
about
thing. I am currently a LeBron fan because
because you have to be
Lakers.
That's like me being a Bryce Harper fan because he's on the Nationals,
You-
and then
you would
as soon as
hate
he
if he
leaves,
wasn't,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Screw that guy.
But I feel like you didn't like him because of the way he left, right? Or was it because he didn't like live up to the hype of what he was supposed to be?
that's a good question.
Because like I feel like a
little
lot
bit
of
both,
national fans
because
don't like him because he left, not because of like.
Oh, I didn't like him because he left, but the more I thought about it, it wasn't really his fault. I mean, he wanted to get paid, and the
Mhm.
Nationals don't like to pay people, as we've seen with Anthony Rendon, who had a phenomenal season after, they won the World Series.
Yeah.
And then they let him go. So now that I have more perspective about the situation, I don't fault him for leaving. I fault the Nationals for not wanting to pay him at all because they're a cheaply ran franchise. But
Mhm.
I do see what you're saying.
So,
You go.
if you have something else to add, then I was going to move us on. But if you have a closing thought on the Lakers.
Nah.
Do you think they're going to win?
I mean, I think that, like I said, it all hinges on this game.
No cop outs. Are they going to win the series? Or
All in. Yes or no?
Yes, I think the Lakers are going to win the series right now. And that is going
And how many
to
games?
6.
Nuggets in 7.
I think Lakers are going to go up 3-1. Everyone's going to freak out.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are going to win one game, and then Lakers are going to
the
finish them
Lakers
off
are
in
going to
6.
go up 3-1, and the Nuggets are going to reverse sweep again.
Nuggets in 7. You heard it here.
So I'd like to take this time to move to something near and dear to my heart and all of our hearts as people that attend the University of Alabama, and that is college football. It's been back for a while.
We're back.
SEC play starts this
Alabama.
week.
It just needs
Actually,
more.
just today, too, the Pac-12 announced that they're resuming play in November. So that was the last Power 5 conference that had canceled. So now all the Power 5 conferences are back. Actually, I had an interesting question to ask you guys before we started talking about the actual game.
Go.
So for those not in the loop, the Big Ten originally said they weren't going to play, and then they recently said that they are going to play now. And a whole bunch of Big Ten players had opted out of the season at the time, and now they're starting to opt back in. Most notably today, Purdue wide receiver Rondale Moore opted back in.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
the top Big Ten receiver.
Yeah, and then Rashad Bateman
Mhm.
also he has to get his waiver approved by NCAA, but he wants back in. And
then the cornerback for Ohio State, whose name I'm
Sean
blanking on.
Wade.
Sean Wade.
And
Anyway.
an offensive lineman for Ohio State, too. Two of their better players, to be honest with you.
So my question for you guys, what doesn't make sense to me, right, is if they were going to play, if they had a season anyway, what was the point of opting out in the first place? Because, it seems to me that they're like, oh, you can't fire me, I quit, and that's all that the purpose had. Because I feel like if you opted out after the college said it wasn't playing, that's effectively just being like, okay, I'm going to go prepare for the draft. But now that it's back, they're opting back in. But why didn't they just not opt out and leave the options open in the first place?
What it might be was they were like announcing to NFL teams and like NFL scouts saying, hey, I'm free to be contacted. So like I am like, we're not gonna have a season. I'm not coming back next year. I am opting out. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, get in touch. Start getting in touch.
But
with me.
Yeah.
if
I
there
also
was-
think they didn't want to be associated with the whole fiasco going on. They just wanted to, wipe their hands and, get away from the mess.
Laissez-faire,
Okay.
hands
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, well, for your point, Matt, though, like I feel like if there was no Big Ten season, NFL teams would start contacting them anyway because they're not going to play. So it'd be like, hey, I mean, you can't. I know the rules. You're not supposed to talk with people like that, but I'm sure it happens all the time.
Yeah, I genuinely think it might just have been players maybe doing a little bit of the "you can't fire me, I quit" kind of deal.
Yeah.
But also, I'm still convinced that it's just like, hey, newsflash, I'm free. Come talk to me. I'm listening, kind of deal.
Okay. So maybe you're saying maybe if they got swayed by a team, they would have stayed opted out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think we'll see Pac-12 players opt back in?
Yes. I think that guys are like, okay, college season's coming back. Might as well take my shot.
What about a guy like Penei Sewell of Oregon, offensive tackle, who's
Abs-
already going to be top 3 pick,
Absolutely
top
not.
5.
He's
There's no
guaranteed
reason.
top 3 no matter what happens. Same with Jamar Chase at LSU. He opted
Yeah.
out. But the SEC, I think that case is a little different for like SEC players that opted out because the season was always going to happen for the SEC. So if you opted out, you actually opted out.
Yeah. And also, his was like a recent opt out, right? Which was like he
It
didn't
was a little
feel
bit ago.
because like
It wasn't talked about much. It was kind of swept under the rug a little bit.
I remember because like there's like a lot of questions about Ed Orgeron because like
Mhm.
he was like only 70% of my team got COVID. It's like that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
The 30th of August, so almost a month
Was
ago
it?
he opted out.
Okay.
But yeah, I love Ed Orgeron like as a personality, but that was really dumb. Him being like, "Oh yeah, all my teams already got COVID, so we're fine."
Look at my success. Look at it. I only got 70% of my kids sick.
Literally.
You got to work on your
Those
impressions.
30% are quitters.
Oh, apparently everybody's doing impressions now. I
Yeah.
don't have a good Orgeron impression, so
I
I'm
mean,
not
neither
even
do
gonna
I,
try.
but I'm still going to do it.
Actually, that was kind of close. I'll give you that.
All right. So anyway, now that we got that out of the way, I think we should talk about. We can start with the SEC because that's the most important
SEC,
conference objectively,
SEC,
as everyone else would
SEC.
agree.
SEC.
I think everyone else would objectively agree that the SEC is the most important conference, and all other conferences
I
are
mean,
not important. So,
It is.
Well,
week one.
I mean, football has been going on for how many weeks now for college football?
3,
2
I
or
think.
3. I think it was
But has it
3.
really been going on?
Oh, no,
You
come
know,
on.
I mean,
Come on now.
I look
We've
at these.
seen maybe 1 or 2 playoff teams.
Yeah.
ACC, like I'll count as going
Yeah,
on.
but those games aren't
but-
good at all.
Yeah, it's Clemson
I mean,
and Notre
ACC
Dame
is
versus the
indeed
world.
going on.
The first, none of those games are good. I watched them, and just because they're on, and I like watching football, and I want to do my research on teams like Clemson, who we might play later on, and see
Mhm.
how if they're firing on all cylinders. But the games haven't been entertaining. Literally, the first weekend the SEC is back, we have Kentucky, who is ranked I think 23rd, against Auburn, who's ranked 8th, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's a good game right there. It's an early game, and then. I'm trying to think of some other games.
Tennessee's ranked.
Tennessee versus South Carolina. That's going to be a close game.
LSU, Mississippi State. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not going to be as close.
I mean,
Florida's
that could be a
playing.
potential upset game for sure.
Yeah.
So just by having the SEC back, the college football level of entertainment is a lot higher.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking
And that's
about.
just for this week too. I was going through. We play A&M next week. A&M's ranked.
Home opener.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you guys get tickets for that game?
I opted
Nope.
in. I didn't see if I got them. So
You didn't, Matt?
Oh no, I'm
have they given them out yet?
They were sending emails.
Here's
apparently.
the thing.
Oh,
I'm not
then
going to
nope.
go to a game, right? Like this season. Like if I opt in, it's going to be to sell a ticket.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it because I've got too much riding on this. Like, sure, maybe COVID is not as bad as everyone says, but my roommate is at risk. My girlfriend is at risk. My girlfriend's parents are at risk. My mom is at risk.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't want
I
to
can
take that.
respect that.
It's like I can either
Yeah.
watch this game from an air-conditioned comfort of my
Where
couch.
you don't have to wait in line
I
for the
don't- I don't
bathroom.
have to
You don't
wait
have
in
to worry
line,
about
yeah.
getting coronavirus.
I could just drink beer. Like
drink
it's
beer,
cheaper.
eat buffalo chicken dip
Exactly.
in the
I-
AC.
Have
Oh,
someone deliver
wait, you
me
guys
some
don't
hot
smuggle
wings.
buffalo chicken dip into the stadium? That's just
No.
me.
Is that what you put in your flask? Tyler puts buffalo chicken dip in his
Yeah.
flask.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
it's
guys,
like-
you want some?
That sounds pretty good right now.
It's like I could just kick it up on my couch, watch every game from home, drink beer, eat wings, and be safe.
And if you sell the ticket, you make money too.
Exactly.
So
there's no
You
negative
got
to this
some fat,
that I see.
some fat stacks in your pocket, and you're watching it in, on your lazy boy on
Yeah.
your couch.
Yeah, but by that logic, it's like, why ever go to an event? Because it costs
Because-
money, and also you could be watching it at home instead.
I've got a counterpoint for that.
Okay.
A reason why I'm not going to games this season is because it's like what 20% capacity, 10% capacity.
So you're saying it's not the same?
It's
as
not
like
the
at home.
same. Without 90% of the fans, you're not
Yeah,
going
it's
to
not
have
the
that
full
roaring
experience.
applause.
Matt needs to go back to math school, though. If it's 20% capacity.
Well, we're not all math minors like you. So.
Wait, what?
I'm
was
just
it-
giving you a hard time.
I thought
What's
said
up?
it was 10%.
No, it's 20% capacity. But
Okay,
anyway.
I see what you're
20%.
saying.
It's 80% then.
But also, I'll counter that counterpoint by saying that they're not allowing a lot of fans in the stadium is even more reason to go, because for the players, that small percentage of fans that are actually in the stadium cheering them on is going to mean a lot to them. So I feel like the players need the fans this
Yeah.
year more than they
But
do
it's not like
ever.
they're not going to sell
Yes,
all the
but
tickets.
my ticket will go to somebody else.
Yeah, I agree.
If I don't opt in,
So-
someone else is going to get it. If I do opt in, I sell it to somebody else anyways. The same number of
Well,
fans gets in.
we only get 2 games anyways, so
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, football.
yeah,
I kind of want to go
we kind of went
over
on
all
a
the
little
SEC.
tangent there.
Yeah, I kind of want to go
Back
by
to football.
all the SEC matchups this week just because we have them all conveniently written out with a nice little percentage to win as well. And so I just kind of want to get your guys' takes on, the games.
You know, I've got some hot takes already.
I know you do. You're going to say like Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, South Carolina.
I got Lane
anyway.
Kiffin beating Florida.
But we should start with
Joey
our
Freshwater.
personal home team, the University of Alabama versus Mizzou. This is the one we don't have the percentage for, actually, after I was just bragging about all the
It's
percentages.
probably close to 100.
How dare you?
All I know, Alabama are 28.5 point favorites as of like 2 days ago when I last saw the odds. And Ole Miss, Missouri. Scratch that. Cut that. All right.
We won't. We will not cut
So,
that.
guys,
keeping
hi.
that.
Welcome to our podcast. Alabama's
Tyler
playing
messed up.
Mizzou, and
He messed up. Get him.
we're 28.5 point favorites against Mizzou. They have like 12 players out with COVID right now, and it could be more by game day. Alabama.
I don't. Do you
doesn't
think
have
that's
any-
true, or do you think they're lying about that? Because they've been sketchy about their quarterback situation. So maybe they're just trying to keep things under.
We declared this guy for COVID, but he's fine today.
I thought they walked that back and said that it wasn't 12, it was 8. They've been sketchy about playing us in general. They're not going to name a starter. Like it really matters. I just think they're trying to play mental games with us, which makes no
They
sense
need
at
it.
all.
You don't mess with Nick Saban's
You're poking
mind.
the
He
giant.
messes with yours.
It's a new coach, right?
Yeah.
And it's his first game, and he has to play the University of Alabama, who's going to be out with a vengeance this year, with an improved defense and a offense that's going to be almost as good. I mean, I don't want to say as good because Tua was, pretty good, that Tua guy. But
That Tua Tagovailoa
Tua
fella
character.
that you are
So-
wearing the jersey of.
can I get some predictions?
Predictions.
Joe, give us a
Alabama.
hot take. Go ahead.
I beg you, give
For
us a
that
hot
game?
take.
Yes.
I beg you to give us a hot take.
Is saying that Mac Jones is going to throw for 342 yards and 3 touchdowns a hot take?
No.
That's hot because that's a very specific number.
Oh,
I think he's going to
guess-
throw for 343.
How many touchdowns?
3, 4. I don't know.
I think he's.
5, 6.
I think he's
I think-
definitely going to torch
here's the thing.
Mizzou
I don't know if
defense.
that's a hot take.
Here's the
That's
thing.
really all I got for you because
the
Mizzou, there's nothing Mizzou does that's going to catch Alabama off guard. I think their best player he's a linebacker, Nick Bolton, not Troy Bolton from High School Musical, but
If
Well,
only.
they're all in this together, but this is having COVID.
See, so here's my thing. I think that Mac Jones is going to have a great game because Mac Jones reminds me of Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron. Those guys always had great games. He's going to have a great first half. He's not going to play the second half outside of the starting drive.
Bryce Young season.
And then Bryce Young is going to come in and do what Tua did. He's just going to look great against the second guys on Mizzou. Like the bench warmers are going to come in and Bryce Young's going to rip him apart.
Mac Jones is very underrated by a lot of people, I think. I underrated him last year. I was like, there's no way he's good, and I would criticize him every time he did anything. But he kind of shredded Michigan's defense.
they were a top 10 defense. Too.
Yeah. And so I think he's going to easily destroy Mizzou. Alabama by like 100 or something. I don't know. That's my
I
prediction.
mean, Mac Jones is what I always thought he was. Everyone was like hyping him up like he was like spectacular last year. I was like, yeah, he's good. I don't know if he's not like Tua. He's not Jalen. He's a
Mhm.
guy that's going to come in. He's going to get the job done. He's
Here's
going to
a
do
guy.
it well. Here's a guy who's going to get the job done. And he's going to get it done
So-
well.
I think he runs the offense better than Tua does. And I will go further by saying that he's better than McElroy and better than A.J. McCarron.
If you mean by run the offense, you mean he can't make all the great throws that Tua can?
He
and
can
so he
make
has
those
to like
throws.
stick to the like run.
Those
pass.
great throws that Tua would force.
I don't.
The dude was a Heisman.
Them's fighting words, boy.
Yeah. I
I
just-
fully disagree with what you're saying here. Because, they're sure, he would force a couple, but the offense was designed RPO, and then, we'd go deep. Now we're getting back to the traditional Alabama offense of run, pass, because Mac Jones
But
can't
do we
run
have to do that?
Yes,
We
Mac
still
Jones
have-
can't run. He can't run like that.
Okay, we don't need to run the RPO, but we can still throw the ball.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't need to run the ball. I mean, we can run the ball. We have really good running backs, but we don't need to run the ball. We don't need to get back to, the Alabama running game because that's, a thing of the past, to be honest with you guys. Not a lot of teams are relying on the running game. I mean, this not just college football, the NFL as well
Mhm.
is way more about throwing the ball. And
I think he's going to get definite options, but I just don't see a world in which he's like better for the offense than Tua because
Just watch, man.
I mean
I'm telling
Tua is
you.
a better quarterback in like every metric.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that
Well,
putting
he
a
has-
worse quarterback
I mean,
in every
metrics.
metric,
He's only started 2 games, so obviously
Well, I
Tua's
mean-
gonna have better numbers.
metric as in just like better at throwing the ball. I'm not talking about pure statistics. Obviously Tua has the statistics, but just like from what we've seen of Mac Jones, he's not Tua, which is fine.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are.
But what was Tua? If you take away
a
that
Heisman candidate,
if you
and
take away
arguably the
that
best
half-
quarterback in the
if you take away, we'll talk about luck. If you take away that lucky halftime or that lucky second half of the Georgia game, and let's say we lose that game, looking at Tua's legacy, what else did he do?
was the
We got
runner-up
blown out.
for Heisman like 2 years in a row, even after
We-
only playing like
We got
10
blown
games.
out in the national championship game against Clemson. We had all that talent on that roster, and we were only managed to win one national championship, and that was on a lucky play at the end of the game.
Yeah, and guess what the Achilles heel for Alabama was those 2 years that everyone, including you, has criticized constantly. It was the defense, not Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah. And if you look at the Clemson game, it's everyone's fault. Literally everyone on the team didn't show up to play. No one did. They thought they were just going to steamroll Clemson, and Clemson came out, punched him in the mouth, and everyone was caught off guard.
Yeah. I mean,
Actually, it was Pete Golding's fault and Mike Loxley's fault. And Mike Loxley is gone. He's
yeah.
coach at Maryland now. Pete Golding is still here.
Moses is back though.
Yeah. If Pete Golding can't get it done this year with Dylan Moses and the amount of talent they have, not just guys returning, other than Moses, Patrick Surtain, but all those young guys, if he can't get it done this year, he's got to go. Because if you look at the statistics, and I've put this on Twitter, I've talked about it a lot. I've been the biggest Pete Golding critic. Our defense the last 2 years has been uncharacteristically terrible. And you know who's been our defensive coordinator for the last 2 years? Pete frickin' Golding.
I mean, to be fair, last year, a lot of it stemmed from us not having middle linebackers because the middle linebacker is known as the quarterback of the defense. I'm not making excuses for Pete Golding here, but like it was a little explainable last year because
What about the year before that, though?
that's
had
the
that's
thing.
less explainable.
That's less explainable. That's what the point I was going to get to. Last season was you could see it because the middle linebackers weren't there. You don't have the guy like making the quick adjustments on the defense. Year before that, it's his fault.
But I don't think at Alabama you have the luxury of making that excuse because you're bringing in every year. You're bringing in top rated recruits,
Yeah.
and you're expecting those guys to step up, and you're expecting them to be coached up and being put in a position where they can succeed. And I don't think they did that last year with Christian Harris and Shane Lee. I just don't think they did, and that's on the coaching staff for not coaching those guys up.
Alabama's like relationship with coordinators is really unfortunate because it's kind of like a darned if you do, darned if you don't.
It's terrible.
Well, because what I mean
It's
is
awful.
if they're good, they get poached to a higher position
Yeah.
at somewhere else, and if they're bad, they get fired, and we have to find another one. So the
But-
turnover
Exactly.
rate compared to
I
other
don't.
schools,
You know what I don't understand
What?
is that everybody else can come in and pluck coordinators from Alabama. Why doesn't Alabama go pluck coordinators from somebody else?
Because
Instead, they promote guys from within, which is great. You know, guys that have been there for a while, loyalty. But if there's a better candidate out there, why don't you go get them?
Here's the thing. With that, yes, I understand where you're coming from on that, but we are simply the best when it comes to like that stuff. And so everyone
we
sees,
should go out and get the best guys, though.
I mean, we did with strength and conditioning. We
Yeah,
went and got
we went and got
Indiana's
him.
strength
true.
and
We got rid of
conditioning.
Scott Cochran, who was a weakness on the
But-
team.
I mean, we didn't
thing
get
is-
rid of him so much as he left.
like, what is it? We had Lane
Same thing.
Kiffin. Lane Kiffin had weird oddities. He left on weird terms again because that's just Lane
He was
Kiffin's
just
way.
a weird guy.
He was awesome though when he
He's
was here.
at Ole Miss now, right?
Yes, I think he's the head coach of Ole Miss.
Yeah,
no,
Kirby
yes.
Smart, take from here, head coach at Georgia. I think we lost a
Mike
couple.
Loxley is the Maryland head coach now after
Good.
last
They
year.
can have
Yeah,
him.
like we just keep losing guys to head coaching roles. It's like it's not the fact that we are getting poached in that regard. It's the fact that they're just taking our guys and saying, "Hey, you want to be a head coach?" And any coordinator would be crazy to say no.
Hey kid, they open their jackets. Hey kids, you want to be a head coach?
You want a head coaching job?
Um, so
You know who's still the offensive coordinator though?
Steve Sarkisian?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasn't he the coordinator when we won the championship?
he's also the coordinator when
Was
the
he?
Falcons lost the Super Bowl.
I don't
fault him for that because that's the NFL. You know, it's a lot different from college.
That's fair.
But I'm pretty sure he was the coordinator for us when we won the national championship. I love Sark, and I know people are very they make fun of him, and there are some people that don't like him, and there are people like me that do like him. But I think he does a great job with Alabama and running that offensive scheme.
What's it? Let's see. I'm trying to find when he was. Oh, but wait a second. So he was
only the Falcons coordinator for a year, right?
He was So here's the thing. He was promoted to our offensive coordinator in January of 2017. Lost to Clemson. Went to the NFL.
Lost in the Super Bowl and then came back.
Lost in the Super Bowl, then came back here in 2019. That's what Wikipedia says, and he's been here for I think last season his first season.
Oh, so that means the gap year was the year we won the national championship.
Yeah, the gap year was the
actually.
year we won the championship.
Because I remember Georgia lost in both the Super Bowl and
Yep.
the national champion.
And then he came back here.
But we barely lost to Clemson, didn't we? They barely
Yes,
beat
it
us?
was the Tide would narrowly lose to the Tigers in his first and only
Deshaun
game.
Watson, I think, right?
Yeah,
okay,
that
was
was
it?
that year.
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah, it was.
Watson through to Hunter Renfro or something like
Well,
that.
it's so
in
hard to
0
like
seconds.
distinguish
That was a lucky
between all
play,
the
by the
times.
way. 0 seconds left on the clock and threw a touchdown.
That was a lucky
luck,
play.
pure luck. All it was, pure luck.
So I think we touched on Alabama quite heartily. So we should.
Yeah.
I think we should touch on the other SEC games a little bit. I mean, obviously not as much because who cares about those other loser schools? I'm kidding, by the way. Not really. So Florida, number 5, ranked Florida against Ole Miss at Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi, I think.
Oxford,
Mississippi. Mississippi.
So yeah, just like
Oxford.
Mizzou. And also, it's not Mizzou. I got those
Lane
two
Kiffin.
confused when I was talking about Alabama's game. Yeah, just like Mizzou, not rookie, but new head coach.
Hey, rookie.
A rook. I guess he's a rookie in the state of Mississippi, but
Ew.
He's
He
definitely
is.
not a rookie to the SEC.
that's true.
God,
So
no.
Lane Kiffin, new coach of Ole Miss. Do you think he stands any chance against Florida at all?
No.
Nope. I
No.
mean, well, okay, I'll say that. I will say, who is the quarterback for Florida again? Is it still that
Kyle
guy?
Kyle Trask.
He is higher Heisman odds than Mac Jones. Take that as you will.
Ridiculous.
I don't know how I feel about Florida's quarterback system or quarterback.
He's been
Look.
like overhyped preseason every year, and then he like performs about as well as you expect him to if you have realistic expectations. And then people are like, "Oh, he had a bad year, but he'll get him next year." Like he's been okay. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been like awful for
Yeah.
the past. Has he been there 4 years?
Well, he
now?
was
This is
he
his
was also
fourth
in a
year there.
weird situation. Like he was behind Felipe Franks, right?
Yeah.
And then Felipe Franks didn't work out.
Felipe Frank, isn't he now like with Arkansas?
Yeah, he's Arkansas's quarterback.
That's gonna suck.
Franks didn't work out, and then he had an injury, so he lost his starting job. So they were trying to figure out if they wanted to have Trask be the quarterback or Emory Jones, who's a highly rated guy for them. And after a while, Trask just took the reins, and they went with him, and he's been pretty solid for them. And I think I don't know if he's got a better chance from the Heisman than Mac Jones. I mean, Vegas says that, but
What does
I'm not-
Vegas know?
Yeah, what is Vegas?
I feel like though that's just because Mac Jones has 2 games under his belt and Kyle Trask has like 2
Yeah.
seasons. So it's easier to say. And
It's easier
also-
to say that a guy with more experience is gonna get it just because they're like, oh, he knows what it is, and they're
Yeah.
like,
Well, I'm surprised that Mac Jones's odds are as high as they are right now. I mean, I was looking at it on Bovado, which is a popular site for people that bet, which I don't do.
Yeah.
which
Mac
you
Jo-
have self-admitted earlier in the
I
podcast
did.
that
hey,
you
we'll
do.
cut that part out. He was.
We're not cutting
I
it.
think he's top 5 on there, and you know who's super low on that list? Najee Harris.
Really?
Yeah, if you put, let's say you put a $5 bet on Najee Harris winning the Heisman, and he wins, you get $100, which I feel like is more likely to happen than Mac Jones winning the Heisman.
Like you said earlier, it's a passing league now. And so
That's
I would be
true.
very surprised to see. Unfortunately, it's just how it is. I would be surprised to see a running back win the Heisman in the next couple of years just because of how football has trended.
of how like air-oriented it is.
Chuba
Yeah, I
Hubbard
was talking about
or
that
someone
earlier.
like that last year wasn't even like top 5 in the voting, or maybe he was 5 and he had like an amazing season. And then everyone else was quarterbacks that threw, they were air raid quarterbacks that just threw for a lot of yards.
7,000 yards in the air, 56 touchdowns on the year.
and they lose the game. No, I'm just kidding. But
Well,
so
some
so
do.
you think that if Alabama when Alabama has a great season and they
Mhm.
make it towards the end, you think that Mac Jones has a better chance of winning Heisman than Najee?
It depends. If
It's so
if-
hard, but we don't know what we're gonna
Yeah,
do because,
exactly.
like we talked
If,
about earlier,
like you
we
said,
have a great offense, great receivers, great tight ends, but we also have great running backs.
Yeah. Well, if like what you said earlier was true, and we don't have to necessarily go back to the Alabama style of
The
like
ground
run
and
the
pound,
ball,
yeah.
then I think Mac Jones has a better chance. But if we do revert to like the ground and pound style, then I think Najee definitely has a better chance.
Well, also
Yeah.
Najee's gunning for that Heisman too. I feel like that.
Najee wants it. What is it? What is our backup?
Trey
name?
Sanders.
Trey Sanders. He's like
third string right now.
Well, really? Oh, and
Brian
Brian Robinson.
Robinson.
Yeah. I feel like Trey Sanders will probably pass him.
So
I don't
anyway,
know.
But he's coming off an injury though.
he is, yeah, and hasn't actually
That's
played
a big-
college.
Well, when
Yeah.
the depth chart came out, there was a lot of like co-starters, which is
Yeah,
weird. but
Will
it's
Anderson and
typical
another
of Saban to do that to keep his opponents on their toes.
So
The mind games.
Mississippi State. Speaking of, again,
Air
new
raid
head
system
coaches.
too.
Yeah, air raid, new head coaches.
Mike
Mike
Leach.
Leach took over from Mississippi State.
Really?
Yes,
Air raid in the SEC.
Mike Leach.
You didn't
and
know that?
Kirby Smart are in the
I
same
forgot about
state.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
They're also playing the other
Kirby
team
Smart.
that I would argue.
It's not Kirby
or,
Smart.
Excuse me, I meant to say
Lane
Lane
Kiffin.
Kiffin. Yeah, that's
He
what-
messed up.
just,
Get him again.
Gosh,
The angry mobs outside.
I think
ready
they're
for you.
playing arguably the team that arguably last year was closest to an air raid system in LSU,
Yep.
where they just Joe Burrow had like 50 passing touchdowns.
It
or
was
something like that.
ridiculous.
But with Miles Brennan at the helm of LSU, isn't he the favorite to win the Heisman besides
No.
or second behind Trevor Lawrence?
I'm checking Heisman
Justin
odds.
Fields, Trevor
Well,
Lawrence.
I think that was without Justin Fields factored in because he, the Big Ten. wasn't
Justin
playing.
Fields has the best odds.
Trevor Lawrence, Spencer Rattler, Sam Ellinger, Darius.
Sam Ellinger?
I forgot about Spencer
Texas
Rattler.
is back.
But
man.
anyway,
No, Texas is not back. It will never be back. It's over.
my point is Miles Brennan never started a game at LSU, at least. Coming in, stepping in for Joey Buckets' amazing record-setting, probably the best college quarterback season of all time last year. Do you think LSU is? I don't want to say are they going to be as good as last year because losing a Heisman quarterback, arguably
No.
best quarterback in college history, like single season, losing the best offensive coordinator in college football, losing one of their two dynamic receivers, a whole bunch of other players.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as good as last year.
You know how many
Absolutely.
games LSU is going to win this year?
But
How many?
5.
That's a bold.
5 games,
That's a bold
and that's
take.
including a loss this weekend against Mississippi State.
You think so? Air raid. Mike Leach is going to come in and
Just bomb LSU to the ground.
Yeah, I do. And they not only can they throw with KJ Costello, but they have Kylan Hill, who's one of the best running backs. I think he led the SEC in rushing yards last year.
Derek Stingley is overrated. He kind of got cooked by Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy last year.
I don't know about overrated. He's pretty good, but
But he's
but other than
touted as,
Derek
like, top.
Stingley, what else do they have on their defense? They have a lot of great freshmen, but you can't expect freshmen to come in there immediately
Yeah.
against Mike Leach's air raid system. I mean, I think they had another guy today, Tyler Sheldon, the defensive tackle.
Yeah. He opted out.
He opted out, or he was planning on opting out, but it was confirmed today. So you lose him. They had their other cornerback opt out too, Kerry Vincent Jr. So all they really have on their defense, I mean, they
Is
lost
Derek
Grant
Stingley.
Delpit, they lost Caleb Von Chiason, they lost all their guys except for Stingley. And I think that's really, that inexperience in the secondary is going to hurt them a lot against Mike Leach and KJ Costello.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If I had to pick an upset to happen in the SEC, I would pick LSU just because simply they lost a ton of people and they
And
lost a ton-
coaches and
they-
players.
They lost coaches, they lost players, and the thing is, Ed Orgeron doesn't care about sickness. He's just letting his guys get sick. He doesn't care
If
about
he dies, he dies.
literally, it's like an Ivan Drago. If he dies, he dies. It,
That was
it
way
just
better
doesn't.
than mine.
It doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. Like these players are going to not want to play for him
I
because.
don't know about that.
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a genuine possibility.
Well, Jamar
Last-
Chase opted out.
That's true. That was
And-
surprising, but also he's the bona fide number one receiver.
Yeah, but Alabama's got a bunch of bona fide guys, and none of them have opted out.
yeah, but
It's
they're
just
not
a
the
difference
number
of
one.
culture.
Like, I don't know.
on the one hand, yes, but on the other hand, he also does have a point. I think Joe does in the regards that, sure, this is Jamar Chase was the guy's name, right?
Yeah.
receiver.
He didn't need to come back. But to be fair, neither did the Alabama guys. I don't think that a lot of stuff.
But also, Alabama has a better returning roster, and I'm sure that played into a factor of why a lot of Alabama. No Alabama players opted out.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at LSU's roster, you're kind of scratching your head. And Chase coming back, he's not going to do better than his numbers last year, especially with Miles Brennan at quarterback and nobody else on offense.
Jamar Chase as the number one with so many people missing and not having Joe Brady and not having Joe Burrow can only realistically have a worse season than he did last year, and that could hurt his draft stock. So when you're the number one, why would you risk that? Versus Alabama's guys, they're trying to get to number one, right? Maybe Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle have an amazing season and then they become number one. That helped them a lot. But I realistically don't see them having like near as much of a negative impact as Jamar Chase could, because Jamar Chase had the one really good year and that was it. It's kind of like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
If Joe Burrow could have came back and played another year, right, and then he had a much worse year, that could have hurt him tremendously.
Well, you mentioned Jalen Waddle. What's going to hurt Jalen Waddle is what we talked about earlier with Rashad Bateman opting back in and who's the receiver from Purdue? Rondell Moore. That's going to hurt him because those guys not playing, the spotlight would have been on him. Mm-hmm. And let's say he has a phenomenal year like we're expecting him to. There would have been teams that would have been more likely to take him because recency bias. He has a great year. Let's say Alabama was national championship. They're going to be more likely to take him than over, Rashad Bateman from Minnesota or Rondell Moore of Purdue, who, didn't even play at all. I think that hurts him.
By the way, a quick update for those that are curious. You two, namely, because this is going to be way past, but my Miami Dolphins are up 14-0.
Who got the last touchdown?
I don't know. But anyway,
That's
I think we should
really
talk about
me.
my SEC upset of the week. I know it's not that controversial because a lot of people are saying it, but I think Kentucky is going to beat Auburn at Jordan-Hare. I think that Kentucky has been trending upward recently.
I agree with you
They're
wholeheartedly.
normally a basketball school, but I think that their football team has definitely been improving, and so
It sounds like us with our basketball team.
that's true. We've just traded powers, and so
We're not even traded. We're sharing them now.
We're sharing them.
We're
both just-
transitioning the power
We're
in
both
like some
multi-sport
weird
schools now.
ritual. I don't know.
But yeah, I think that I don't think Bo Nix is that great. I think
Bo
he had
Picks.
a couple clutch drives, and
Oh,
that
those-
has people to.
That was, there's luck.
I mean,
That was
No.
luck.
kind of. Yeah, I can see that. But
Well, their defensive line, they lost Derek Brown,
Brown, which is
and
huge.
Marlon Davidson.
Eric Brown, wasn't he like an animal?
Yeah,
he got
he's
drafted number
insane.
6,
Yeah.
I think, to the Panthers.
And
they also lost Noah Igbenogany
yeah,
and Prince Teo Wanogo.
but a lot
Okay,
of weird
all right.
names.
They got some weird
Sorry,
names.
I'm just flexing my Auburn player knowledge on you guys.
That's kind of weird.
That's
Makes
not
me
something you should be
think-
proud of here in
I just
Tuscaloosa.
It
watched
makes
the
me
draft.
think that you are a closet Auburn fan.
Oh yeah,
The
guys,
Bo
don't
Nix
look under my
jersey's
Tua
underneath
jersey.
the Tua jersey.
Oh, is that orange and
They're
blue?
coming for you. They're
Oh.
coming for you this episode.
Yep.
So then 2 more games we should touch on real quick because I think we're running out of time. Actually, We
Loosely,
should-
yes.
Tennessee, number 16 at South Carolina. I don't know why Tennessee is 16. I think they're so overrated right now. Until they
I know.
start to win something.
How you
I
gonna
don't believe in
have?
it.
How you gonna have a team ranked 16 and a team that's not ranked, and have the team that's not ranked be favored to win?
Yeah,
I
they're
saw that,
52% chance to
you
win.
just hate
Hey.
Tennessee.
It goes back to betting though. That makes when Tennessee wins that game,
Yeah.
I make even more
I've-
money.
I've
We've
used-
established this podcast. We've established
You have a
that I have a
gambling
gambling addiction.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. It's like The Last Dance. You don't have a gambling problem. You have a competitive problem.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's how you.
Yeah.
That's how you like.
Right.
You like.
Hey, I will say
Don't
I'm
lie.
not putting these are little small bets. $5 parlays that I'll pick 6 teams.
Yeah.
And if they win, I get a bunch of money. If they lose, I
Oh.
lose $5. So it's not too bad. It could be worse.
So Tennessee did have a really good recruiting class. Weren't they like top 5 this last
Yeah,
year?
they were.
They were 5, I think.
Let me look.
But it's just, to me,
Don't look.
they were
They
a
were.
garbage team
Gotcha.
last year, as to put it lightly. And so until they start winning, I can't root for, I can't bet on them.
Didn't they win like 6 games in a row to end the season?
They lost to like Central Arkansas or something like that. in the
No,
first
I know,
game,
but the
though.
beginning of the year they played poorly, and then I think at the end of the year they ended on a winning streak, including a bowl game. I could be wrong.
So for 2020, they were 10th, and for 2021,
They're like 4th or
yeah, they were.
yeah, for 2021 they are 6th.
oof.
They're out of the top 5 now. They got passed by Oregon and LSU.
Oh, yeah,
oh by the way,
LSU.
we're the number 1 spot now. We passed-
number 1.
We passed Ohio State.
So then the last game, this one is kind of a rough one. I'm actually surprised the chances are as low as they are for the win. Number 4, Georgia at Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Georgia has a 91% chance to win. I feel like that's a little insulting to Georgia. I feel like it's like a
Wait.
95 or 98.
A lot of people don't think Arkansas is going to win any games this year. Do you guys think they win?
Okay, they kind of got screwed with their additional teams. For people that
They
don't
did.
know, all the SEC teams got 2 other teams to added to their schedule from the other side of the conference. So we're SEC West, I believe, and then they got added SEC
Yeah.
East teams. They got Florida and Georgia as their 2
Oh,
additional teams to play.
man.
Number 4 and number 5 ranked teams. So that feel bad for them. I feel like
They're
if
gonna
a
get
team's gonna go winless, they're the ones that most likely to do
They're
it.
gonna get smacked so bad.
I don't know how good their defense is, but offensively, if Felipe Franks is healthy and he can kind of figure his himself out,
He's got. About to say he's not gonna do anything. Felipe
Yeah.
Franks might. throw
Felipe
for-
Franks and Rakeem Boyd. Rakeem Boyd is the running back.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm really excited for the Felipe Franks Kyle Trask Bowl. Though.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. I'm sure the announcers will be really excited because it'll give them something to talk about when the game's going
Yeah.
horribly
Oh,
wrong.
yeah. Every intermission. By the way, these guys like.
Did
this-
you know these guys?
Kyle Trask
were
was his
teammates?
backup.
They'll be like
Yeah.
ESPN
Did
graphics.
you know that Matt Stafford caught for Clayton Kershaw in high school? If you watch a Lions game, they bring that up like 10 times.
Well,
every game.
that's the problem. I don't know why I'd ever watch a Lions game.
That's fair. And with that note, I think we're out of time. So, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here with me.
Thanks for tuning
letting
in.
me into your home, Joe. We're not in actually your home, but it's basically your home.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm here enough, but
Anyway, and thanks
see
for
ya.
watching.
We'll see you next time.
we'll be back next week.
Peace.